Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Casper Network, aka CSPR. So with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. So as we look at Casper, one thing that you're probably noticing at this point is the fact that everyone is so damn bearish on Casper. They think that it's dead. They don't even care about it anymore. It's done. It didn't do anything. The price action is stagnant. It hasn't, moved at all with the rest of the altcoin market. And, the overall sentiment is definitely one of the worst that I've seen in this market. And I'm going to talk about it. Overall, what I keep hearing about is IPW and the tokenomics and this and that. And a lot of people just, fail to realize that the tokenomics for Casper are not as bad as most people are making it out to be. 8% year over year inflation. It will take still roughly like 8+ years for Casper to even have the circulating supply of majority of the top 50, top 75 projects. And we're still talking about like XRP, HBAR, ADA. Like these are projects that tokenomic wise, Casper will have to take 8+ years to reach their supply. So think about that real quick, because, I'm sure over the course of the next 8 years, I'm not saying that we have to wait 8 years, but I'm just saying like over the course of the next 8 years, adoption, implementation, utilization of these technologies is only going to heat up more and more and more, especially as we do get closer to regulations and adoption of these technologies through standardization as well. But beyond that, as we look at Casper, the price action, right? Everyone is focused on the price action. What is going on with Casper? Why isn't the price breaking out? Well, let's take a look at the overall charts. Now, at the time that I am making this video, Casper's at about roughly 2 3/4 cents. So roughly like 2.75. As we look at Casper right now, this is what the chart looks like. Now I have this area down here in red where the risk to reward ratio is the highest. It seems as though Casper wants to go for this bottom down here at about roughly like 2.5 cents. This is a level that I actually bought a ton of my Casper app back in December of 2022 and even around September of 2022 as well. Do I feel concerned or worried, or am I mad about Casper not performing? No, I'm not. I really don't care about altcoins right now because alt season is officially not even here. As we look at most altcoins very similar to Casper, a lot of them are not really moving right now. Everyone is looking at the top gainers and losers, and even when we look at the all and we go to the last 30 days, this is what the last 30 days looks like. As we look at all of these projects, do you notice something? That's right. All of these are moving off of pretty much zero volume. Look at the top gainers here, $225,000 worth of trading volume. Guys, these altcoins, and a lot of these are not even altcoins. They're just trash, if I'm being completely honest with you. Now, does that justify the fact that Casper hasn't moved? No, but I'm just saying like most of the top gainers, even in the last 30 days, are all illiquid projects. Even if we go to the top 500, there is some nice movement across the board, but a lot of these are moving against a chart that is absolutely killed. So it's easy to move and have significant percentages to the upside if they got killed on the last previous run to the bottom. But this is the last 30 days. Look at the 30-day gains. Guys, these are like the top roughly, like there's only roughly like 20 some projects in the top gainers in the top 500 in the last 30 days. So that kind of goes to show you that altcoins right now are not really moving. Most of the market in the last 50 days has just been ranging to the sideways price movement. It's just been ranging. Now, beyond that, outside of Casper, let's take a look at a few altcoins. So this bottom down here, this red zone, is essentially the bottom down here on a zero, right? Aleph Zero recently had a major sell-off back to roughly like 68 cents. It was the level that we saw back in June of 2022. Guys, this is a historical bottom zone. Very similar to Casper coming back down into this red zone. That's essentially what A0 just did. Beyond A0, let's go check out the HBAR Bitcoin pair. Look at this level that the Bitcoin pair just recently retested. This is that exact red zone on A0 and even Casper. Here's XRP on the XRP Bitcoin pair. Again, these are levels at which these projects really kind of bounce off of. Now, are we comparing the USD or the USDT chart to the Bitcoin chart and really kind of making an argument? Yeah, we are, because even on a lot of the major projects in the space, like Solana, right? They had very similar Bitcoin pairs just like this, and their USD pair looked also very similar to this. Solana is a great example. Look at this red zone that Solana was in back in 2022 and even in 2023. The sentiment around Solana during this time here was absolutely ridiculous. You should have saw all of the comments about how Solana's going back down to $1. It's dead. It's never going to bounce back. FTX still holds X amount of, dollars in terms of Solana in their reserves. Like, it was so negative. And guess what? This was a historical buying opportunity for Solana, because if we go all the way back, this is basically 2021 levels before it went to all-time highs. And if you actually look here, going off of just the mid-range on Solana, you pretty much pulled in almost a 13.5x return on Solana from 2022, 2023, all the way into just March of this year. Now, if we go all the way off of the bottom here, you're talking about roughly a 26x return. That is pretty damn good if you are thinking about how we're not technically in alt season just yet. Now, is Solana, one of a few? Yeah, technically it is. But they're still down from their all-time highs. I mean, even if we go off the all-time high here, Solana, even on this recent move, was still roughly 21, almost 22% away from its all-time high. It's right now roughly about 45% away from its all-time high. A lot of the altcoin market still did not make a new all-time high. But outside of this, I did put out a post regarding the sentiment. I said the sentiment in this space is just getting worse and worse. As we chop sideways and altcoins continue to range or even bleed, you'll see sentiment become extremely negative. When you look at altcoins like Casper, for example, the sentiment is the worst it's ever been. Remember that alt season technically didn't start. Bitcoin dominance is over 50% plus. And as we look at PA surrounding Bitcoin, we are still waiting on a confirmed move. If you're getting negative, bearish, and patient now, the best thing you can do is step away. Take some time off from constantly looking at the charts, checking your portfolio, etc. The fun didn't start, and yes, altcoins could bleed or range even longer. I see so much capitulation right before the big move happens. Casper will be no different in my opinion, especially since macro-wise, it's about to make a double bottom. Go take a look at the sentiment behind HBAR right before we pumped to almost 20 cents. And yes, considering the fact that I do make videos on HBAR a lot, I saw the sentiment around HBAR right before this big move. Everyone was like, HBAR's not doing anything. HBAR's a scam. HBAR's doing, they're about to dump a ton of HBAR supply onto the market. Like, there's a lot of negative comments, and even the sentiment around HBAR was so bad right before we had that big move to the upside. Now, you could very well say, oh, it was because of BlackRock. Well, that news was going to happen regardless, because the chart was oversold. The chart was at this point in time where a big impulsive move was going to happen regardless of what, the news or headline article was going to be around HBAR. It was going to pop anyways, just like back in January of 2021 when we saw this big spike to the upside. Now, going back to this, right? I said, and how quick the emotions change. Right now, XRP sentiment is horrible while the chart looks extremely bullish. Emotions play against your success in this space. Everyone wants to sell the red and buy the green. It's human psychology. Casinos are successful because we are wired to keep chasing. Stop following what the herd is telling you to do and stop falling victim to your emotions. At the end of the day, altcoins that are simply doing nothing or have the worst sentiment circulating around them typically become some of the biggest winners. Go check out the ADA chart during 2019 to 2021. There is a prime example of an altcoin that got bashed 24/7 and then everyone couldn't stop talking about it. Don't shake yourselves out during the grace period in this market. It's boring, it's not fun, and ultimately this is what shakes majority out, not the major crashes. And yes, as we look at Casper, right, like we've been ranging for roughly 693 days. Yeah, there's been some spikes here and there, but this is nothing crazy. Like, this is not, a massive gain. Like, are we going to really celebrate a move off of the bottom to the upside here of about roughly 186%? Absolutely not. Guys, just for reference, we go back to Solana. This move here in the middle of this massive move, This move here was roughly 164%. So as we really look at Casper, like this move, and considering the fact that we had a wait on this move, roughly, 315 days, while if we go back to the Solana move, in just a amount of time, roughly, 56 days? Yeah, we're not going to be celebrating that move on Casper because it's not a significant move at all. But as we look at these charts, as they do range sideways, this is what chops everyone out. I see a lot of people selling their Casper for, altcoins that are already pumped up 1,000% plus, while, again, Casper off of the bottom back here, right now at the current price, is only up 24%. Guys, Casper didn't even move. Casper didn't do anything yet. And that's not a bad thing. We go and look at ADA, okay? ADA from the it's like the 2020 lows to the 2021 high. It did roughly a 287x return, okay? But during this entire time, and if you were around during this time, then you know that ADA was one of the most bearish altcoins out there. Because we had a nice spike up in the market, nothing too crazy, and it just continued to range sideways after having a massive sell-off, and then we started to see it pump. And this is after March of 2020, and then it went completely crazy. Most altcoins will look like this. And the ones that are the most bearish, in my opinion, will give you the best reward, and it's the highest risk as well. Like ADA back here was not one of the, safest bets. No, it was high risk. But those high risk opportunities are typically high reward. Now, do I think that Casper is going to go to zero? Do I think that Casper is a scam or anything like that? No, I don't believe so. And the reason why is because there is a lot of fundamentals behind Casper. The team behind Casper is constantly working. They're constantly meeting with those that are very high on the food chain. And it's also something that really kind of gives me confidence while Casper just ranges, while the sentiment gets extremely loud. Have I thought about selling Casper at all? No, I haven't. Because again, typically when the FUD and negativity is the loudest, it's typically the best risk to reward ratio in the space. Same goes with ADA. ADA is a perfect example of this. But are we looking at Casper doing a 280 some X return? It's questionable, right? Could it happen? 100%. Is it going to happen? That's a different story. But beyond this, right? Like as we look at fundamentals, everyone looks at the IPW news and they're like, all right, well, Casper's dead, right? It couldn't be anything further from the truth. Guys, focus on other things. Like, yeah, you have IBM. IBM's great. It's working with Casper around AI initiatives. That's great. That's a great opportunity. But what about Actis, right? Everyone forgets about Actis. I have two posts here from Tokenizer. This one's a little bit more recent. And again, Tokenizer is one that has been covering Casper for a while. We have the World Economic Forum recognizes nucleus finance on Casper for tokenized financial contracts. There's a trend with all the enterprise utilities in the Casper ecosystem. They're always recognized by the World Economic Forum, IPW, Davos 2022, Brave AI, Davos 2024, IBM, Bridge and World Economic Forum documents. But this specific highlight of nucleus finance brings much more emphasis than all the previous highlights. In previous highlights, we'd only either seen short demos or a small mention of the project, but in this case, we see the financial contracts and nucleus finance is the entirety of the highlight. As we can see, the utility of smart contracts or smart financial contracts run all throughout the industry. Think of every operation in finances today. Just about 90% of them could all be automated with smart financial contracts. Deliver versus payments, financial contracts. Payment invoices, financial contracts. Derivative assets, financial contracts. Futures markets, financial contracts. Bond payments. Again, it all goes down the list, even to debt markets. Everything we have today in financial markets are in some way or form already a form of a financial contract. With stocks, you're essentially holding an IOU on a contract that implies you have partial ownership over a company. In bond and treasury assets, the coupon payments are done as payments and stated in the contract agreements for purchasing and holding the bond. Futures and derivative contracts are literally just legal agreements to buy or sell assets under specific conditions. B2B or even B2C payments are also just another form of a legal agreement for products and services to be traded and settled in currency. Private debts also just a contract agreement. Like, all of this is financial contracts. With all of that information into account, you can now realize how big financial contracts really are. You could say they're only one part of finance, but you could also agree or argue, it's what makes finance what it is. Now, realistically, anyone can spin up a protocol looking to tokenize financial contracts. So what makes Casper's Nucleus Finance so unique? Well, as you know, it's not exactly what you do, but rather who's connected and backing it. In Casper's case, having Actus and essentially all of the ISO TC68 behind the vision speaks volumes. The benefit of having Actus as an ISO 2022 RMG member and also sharing a Class A license into ISO TC68 SC9 for data exchange of financial services. Once again, data exchange financial contracts within a financial contract. One could argue it's essentially a form of pure data exchange within the contract agreements between the parties signing. Now, we've confirmed Nucleus Finance is backed by Actus, ISO TC68, ISO 2022, World Economic Forum, and also VM Data and Service. While it may be early to really see the hype in the financial industry space for Nucleus Finance, make no mistake, institutions and banks have taken notice of what the future of finance will look like. The nucleus to the new world of finance. And here you guys have, from tokenization to smart financial contracts. A tokenized financial contract should express the full logic of cash flows between counterparties. This is why Nucleus Finance has deployed on the enterprise-grade Casper blockchain, as it is the only chain to offer natively upgradable smart contracts. By employing standardized algorithmic logic and real-time updates, a smart financial contract emerges capable of autonomously expressing its own asset, liability, and cash flow state. And here we have associated with a wide range of financial instruments, including commercial loans, commercial bonds, trade credit, and invoice factoring. So it's pretty much the entire world of finance, all through one thing, which is smart financial contracts. This concept defines the foundation of smart financial contracts, which can autonomously express their asset, liability, and cash flow states in near real time. Now, beyond this, over here, this is a little bit of a shorter post, but this is talking a little bit about the Actus conference 2024. It's actually happening very, very soon. I believe that this might be happening today. I might be wrong on it, but regardless, here we have the Actus 2024 conference events have been revealed. Another huge event on the future of finance real soon. Some huge names presenting, like the DTCC, the US Senate, Deloitte, Fed Housing Finance, US Treasury Department, European Central Bank. Like, these guys, these are the big names that are behind finance. They see Actus, which Actus is the major standard behind Nucleus Finance. Like, this is why we look at how big this very well could be for Casper, because all of this is crucial pieces for the financial world to truly be on chain and also be automated through smart contracts. This is a big step. And as you can guess, Casper is the key sponsor, but it seems they're also being highlighted and discussing on the use of DeFi for the actual financial industry. This is massive, as Casper is currently the only public DLT working directly with Actus standards. The event will bring eyes from these massive names towards what Casper has been building. One point that really stands out to me is the API reference of Actus standards. Underneath that, we see that the panel will be presented by Francis Parr, convener of Actus standards. But prior to this, Francis was part of the IBM research. In fact, he was actually a part of the IBM research for a total of 44 years. Specifically, his research at IBM was focused on the broad scope of financial risk analytics, perfectly fit for what Actus is doing. As we know, Casper also has had some close working relations with IBM since early 2020. And when we pair it together, API, standards, DLT, it sounds very similar to what Q&T has done with SATP, especially with what we've seen from Casper formerly compliant to SATP with the IBM Weaver Bridge for IPW. As we see, following standard frameworks continues to be part of Casper's core focuses. While it may be surprising to see Actus land some of these names, don't forget 98% of the financial contracts already comply to their standards. They've already established the foundation. The next move is moving these standards on chain for programmable financial contracts. That's where Casper comes in with Nucleus Finance. And yes, that's 98% of all financial contracts out there that are compliant with Actus standards. You've already gotta, you've really gotta wonder what Casper is doing here with all these leading financial institutions from the US and the EU government entities to large private sector giants, all partaking in this event. Financial contracts in themselves are a $50 trillion plus market opportunity, and there's no telling how much the innovation of smart financial contracts will accelerate that. One of the largest DLT-based financial innovations is building in silence behind the world's distractions. And yes, as we look at this, right, as FUD gets extremely loud, focus on what really matters. Right now, yes, we're still tied to Bitcoin. Yes, we're still tied to hype. Yes, we're still tied to speculation. But beyond that, right, we are getting towards that end goal where, the entire market will not run on Bitcoin. It will run on utility, on what fundamentals these projects actually have tied to them. Right now, the real value of Casper is not on the screen. Right now, this is the price that we are seeing because Casper is still tied to Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been ranging. Nobody cares about buying Casper right now. They're out buying meme coins or whatever coin there is that is pumping, right? But at the end of the day, as we look at Casper, it's so much more than IPW. It's so much more than IBM. There's a lot going on around Casper. Yes, does Casper need more builders? 100%. But think about when Casper actually officially launched. Think about what has happened since the launch of Casper as well. There is a lot more that you need to focus on right now, outside of just what everyone is saying, which is, oh, Casper is so negative. There's nothing going on with Casper. The price action sucks, blah, 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 this, that, whatever. We could sit around and say, yeah, the price action does suck. But ultimately speaking, when you look at this chart, this to me is just doing this, which is waiting for something to happen. And what will be that determining factor? Well, it's alt season officially happening and altcoins actually breaking out against Bitcoin. Now, we might chop for a little bit longer. We might hit that bottom zone down there and just kind of range sideways before the big move. But regardless, I'm not getting to the point where I'm like, all right, yeah, Casper's dead. It's done. I'm done with Casper. No, because the fundamentals are telling us everything besides that in an opposite way. When we look at Casper, the connections are very, very large. There's still a lot going on. This is what I'm focused on. I'm not here to, tell you guys, hey, hold on to your Casper forever. Don't sell Casper. You guys are more than welcome to do whatever you want with Casper. If you think that there's a better opportunity out there, hey, so be it. I'm not here to tell you guys that Casper is the best thing since sliced bread. I'm not here to tell you guys that there's only one winner and it's Casper. No, there's going to be multiple winners. Casper is a big bet on my end. It's still my number one holding, and it will continue to be my number one holding because, hey, I put my money where my mouth's at. And when we really look at Casper, it is going to be my number one bet this cycle. After the cycle, we'll see what happens. But regardless, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if there's more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.